Vladimir Putin. To some in Russia, is the best thing that happened to the country, and to a few others, they can't wait to give him the boot. But something they can all agree on is that his methods have worked in the past, even though they may come off as a little bit bossy. And by a little, we mean a lot. Putin is the longest sitting president in Europe, only behind Alexander Lukashenko of Belarus. How has he done it? What is his story? And how do his authoritarian methods play out today? In the following minutes, you shall find out. And welcome to People Biographics. Before we begin telling his story, it'd be a big help if you could support the channel by liking and subscribing now or after the video. So, who is Vladimir Putin? The 70-year-old self-proclaimed Messiah of Russia was born in October 1952 in Leningrad, former Soviet Union territory, now St. Petersburg, Russia. He was born the youngest of three brothers, who both died before he was born. His father was drafted into the Soviet Navy and served for many years, while his mother was a regular factory worker. In the early 60s, Putin started schooling close to his home. Unlike many kids born in the Soviet Union, he was conscripted into the Young Pioneers Club to learn all the elements of social cooperation in government-founded camps. By the time he was 12, he was already familiar with Sambo and Judo. Unsurprisingly, he loved reading books by revolutionists and activists like Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, and Vladimir Lenin. In high school, Putin studied German and speaks it fluently as a second language. As expected of a man with his inclinations, he joined the KGB when he turned 23. After initial training, he became an agent with counterintelligence. He then moved on to the first main directorate, where he was part of the team monitoring foreign internationals in the country and managing covert agents with the agency. Putin was referred to as not being good at his job, as he and his team were notorious for providing mountains of useless information to the agency. He held various positions within the agency, including serving as a foreign intelligence officer in East Germany. Putin resigned from the KGB in 1991 after the coup of Mikhail Gorbachev, as he did not agree with what had happened. He was noted saying, "As soon as the coup began, I immediately decided which side I was on, although it wasn't an easy choice because he was familiar with the organs." The following years saw Vladimir dive into politics, and here is a brief rundown of his rise to the presidency. In May 1990, Putin was appointed as an advisor on international affairs to the mayor of Leningrad, Anatoly Sobchak. In June 1996, Sobchak lost his bid for re-election in St. Petersburg, and Putin, who had led his election campaign, resigned from his positions in the city administration. He moved to Moscow and was appointed deputy chief of the Presidential Property Management Department, headed by Pavel Borodin. On the 26th of March 1997, President Boris Yeltsin appointed Putin deputy chief of the presidential staff. On the 9th of August 1999, Putin was appointed one of the three first deputy prime ministers. Later that day, was appointed acting prime minister of the government of the Russian Federation by President Yeltsin. When Yeltsin resigned on the 31st of December of that year, Putin became acting president. He was subsequently elected to the presidency in his own right in 2000 and served 2 terms, during which he worked to centralize power and strengthen the Russian state. Putin was re-elected in 2012 and has been serving as president ever since. Here is where it gets interesting. When Putin arrived in office, he took over an economy still recovering from a financial crisis. Although he had no elaborate schemes to revitalize the economy, he slashed taxes for business owners and nationalized many formerly privatized industries like the oil sector. This led to swift economic prosperity, for which the people of Russia still note him. This economic growth also led to a growth in Russia's population. Putin inherited a country with a falling birth rate because of, reportedly, men's unwillingness to have sex for reproductive purposes and a tendency for them to die young as well. As the economy started to grow and the financial situations of Russian citizens started changing, they started having more kids and the population grew exponentially. President Putin has consistently moved toward ensuring the prolonged seizure of his power. In 2004, he signed a law allowing the president to appoint regional governors, a privilege he mainly retains despite reforms prompted by street protests in 2011 and 2012. This is just one of many examples of his autocratic antics. He has also been a recipient of prolonged and recurring corruption allegations. He and his government have been termed dishonest, especially regarding the conversation on the source of his wealth, which some assume is stolen state funds. However, allegations have swirled for years that an extravagant palace built on the Black Sea coast, reportedly guarded by the Presidential Secret Service and now owned by a Putin confidant, secretly belongs to him and was paid for with embezzled funds. An allegation he's failed to shake off successfully. Putin's critics have spoken painfully about how he's led the country to an authoritarian limbo. In contrast, supporters have praised his methods and how they have brought significant growth to Mother Russia and imbibed a spirit of fear in all who seek its downfall, also known as the West. When it comes to his leadership style, Putin has said that the task of the government is to create the necessary conditions for the development of the individual and society. And he's done that regardless of the cost to the international community. Putin currently owns the highest approval rating of any Russian leader at nearly 90%. During his time in office, Putin has regularly put his judo skills to use through his military forces. This has led to him facing numerous controversies within Russia and on the international stage. One such controversy, a major one, has been his handling of the conflict in Ukraine, which began in 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea and supported separatist rebels in eastern Ukraine. The conflict has resulted in thousands of deaths, led to economic sanctions against Russia by the United States and European Union. Russian President Vladimir Putin has defended the annexation of Crimea, which took place in 2014. Putin argued that the annexation was necessary to protect the rights of ethnic Russians living in Crimea and to restore historical justice, as Crimea was a part of Russia until 1954. Putin probably has a boner for Ukraine because of his constant taunting of the nation. A long list of issues has come up since he became president. Some issues that have caused tension between the two countries include energy disputes and trade policies.
Да, мы делаем это. Но кто начал? Кто ударил по мосту?
There has also been an ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine between Ukrainian government forces and Russian-backed separatists, which has resulted in the further deaths of thousands and the displacement of many people. While Russia sends in bombs to eastern Ukraine, Ukraine isn't backing down with bombs of their own, as Ukraine's chief of defense intelligence has alleged Putin has been battling with cancer in secret for apparently a long time and will suddenly die quickly. These reports surfaced right after Putin cancelled a few back-to-back public appearances, including his annual state address and a visit to a tank production factory. His health was a reason for the cancellation of the visits. Regardless of anyone's personal opinions of the man, his actions significantly impact today's world. Vladimir Putin, how he grew up, how he rose to power, and what damage he's been up to in 2022. Did I miss anything in his biography? Please share with me and other subscribers in the comments section. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to be amongst the first to know when we release a new video. I'll see you in the following video.